So, if you've been in the anime and manga sphere for a while now, you'll know that every year we go through the cycle where a new manga to anime adaptation will be announced. Manga fans will come out in full force declaring that this will be the very best anime series ever, and then the anime will come out and it'll be mildly successful and nothing more than that. To manga readers' credit, we have actually gotten a handful of really good manga to anime adaptations over the past few years. Notably, Dr. Stone, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Demon Slayer are all manga that have gone on to become extremely successful anime that have actually, to an extent, redefined the anime mainstream. One such series that could follow a similar path within the next year or two is Tatsuki Fujimoto's second ever serialized manga, Chainsaw Man. Regardless of its future anime adaptation, the series is already extremely popular and critically acclaimed. 8 of the 20 most upvoted discussion posts in r/manga over the past year are Chainsaw Man chapters. The series was also the co-winner of the Shonen category of the 2021 edition of the prestigious Shogakukan Manga Awards, previously awarded to other amazing series such as Yu Yu Hakusho, Fullmetal Alchemist, Haikyuu, and Mob Psycho 100. So, although I'm not here to debate about whether Chainsaw Man's anime adaptation will be good or not, do believe me when I tell you that it is an absolutely stellar manga that you should start reading right now if you haven't yet done so. Before we proceed, a mild spoiler warning. In this video, I'm mainly addressing people who haven't yet read Chainsaw Man, so I will try to steer clear of spoilers as much as possible. However, I will discuss some minor plot points and include a few manga panels here and there to illustrate my arguments, so beware. Having said that, let's get going. Chainsaw Man tells the story of Denji, a teenager with small ambitions and large chainsaws sticking out of his arms and forehead, which he uses to slay devils. Now, this teenagers hunting devils/demons/curses trope is all too common in anime and manga today. Just at the top of my head, this is the same premise as Jujutsu Kaisen, Yu Yu Hakusho, The Promised Neverland, Demon Slayer, Blue Exorcist, and High School DxD. Yet, Chainsaw Man stands out from its contemporaries, due in part to its unique main character. When I said that Denji has small ambitions, I really meant it. His motivations at the start of the series are not to save the world, or to become the king of the devils or whatever, but simply to touch breasts and eat 3 meals a day. He's also only got 1 testicle, which he probably sold to Josuke from JoJo, but that's besides the point. Denji's seriousness about achieving his simple goals, making an extremely relatable main character. And it also leads to some hilarious altercations whenever he encounters other characters with much more ambitious goals that would be more fitting of an actual shonen main character. Further, Denji's aims are so minuscule that they actually get resolved relatively early in the story, which is not very common for shonen type manga. And this actually means that we, the reader, get to see Denji grow as a character throughout the story and realize what it is that he actually values most beyond just his base desires. And obviously this is something that we all go through as we transition from adolescence to adulthood. So once again, Denji is very grounded and very relatable. Denji's simplicity and goofiness are also particularly important given the dark tone of the series. I think he would be forgiven for thinking that Chainsaw Man is actually a seinen manga upon first reading it. Fujimoto has created a world full of unspeakable horrors, incessant violence, and never-ending death. And the high contrast, jagged but also extremely detailed nature of the series' art style bring its bloody world to life in a way not too dissimilar from Junji Ito's own works. But I'm not here to debate whether Chainsaw Man is really a seinen or shonen series. I think what really matters here is that these specific characteristics allow Chainsaw Man to stand out amongst its shonen contemporaries. To put it simply, if Weekly Shonen Jump's motto is friendship, effort, victory, then Chainsaw Man's motto is simping, despair, and loss. Even when Denji and the gang win whichever fight they're on at any given point in the series, they never really win. It feels more like a loss most of the time. And as a result, in a sense, the series almost feels like it progresses backwards throughout its run. As Hirohiko Araki, writer of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, writes in his book Manga in Theory and Practice, one of the keys to writing a successful shonen manga is to have character and story beats, or character and story arcs, that are constantly moving forwards and upwards. The moment your main character loses or retrecedes in his or her story arc, readers will immediately lose interest, and you've set yourself up for failure. Yet, Denji rarely truly wins his fights, and him and other characters really just suffer loss after loss, often in the form of death. You could probably say the same thing about other series. Whenever people bring up Attack on Titan or Game of Thrones, one of the first things they mention is how almost any character can die, and that this automatically makes those series good by default. Alternatively, there are extremely popular series like One Piece and Naruto that don't rely on character deaths or only do so sparingly and can still manage to write really interesting, gripping storylines. What makes Chainsaw Man stand out then is that its storyline contains so much dread and darkness that it makes Denji's character arc progress forward by comparison. It uses its edgy and tragic aesthetic to tell a surprisingly touching and mature coming-of-age story that completely betrays your expectations upon first starting the series. In other words, the series hits you with the lowest of lows to give you the highest of highs. On one hand, Fujimoto allows Denji to achieve his base desires, but in only the worst of ways, often involving plenty of lice and bodily fluids in a variety of weird and really disgusting ways. But on the other hand, the series produces bright spots that are so bright you can't miss them. These can come in the form of Denji's growth from a teenager to an adult, as well as his interactions with other characters such as Power, who is a blood fiend that lives for the sake of human suffering, but also dreams of winning a Nobel Peace Prize, and Aki, who is the emoest of all emo characters in the history of manga and anime, but slowly comes to appreciate the value of family and friends. So really, some really touching stuff. I particularly love Denji's and Power's relationship. They're two big doofuses, and they really stand out in a series where literally everything around them is crumbling literally all the time. These highs can also come in the form of specific story beats, as well as some insane action set pieces. My personal favorite is that time when our titular protagonist, Chainsaw Man, much like Napoleon crossing the Alps, rides a quadrupedal shark into battle against his love interest / bomb devil / Russian spy, and a literal tornado composed of half a baby's face and copious amounts of brain matter. And before you ask, yes, this is a Sharknado reference. There's also references to Spider-Man 2, Hellboy, Alien, Berserk, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Fujimoto's previous manga, Fire Punch, amongst others. Now, if I haven't gotten your attention by now, then there's probably something seriously wrong with you, but I do have an ace up my sleeve. Sure, Chainsaw Man has some relatable characters, and sure, it has a cool story, and sure, it has some awesome action, but Chainsaw Man also has its own free-to-play online dance game, and it absolutely rocks. Let's go. Okay, easy enough. Fuck. Ah. Fuck. I mean... This game is a symptom of a wider cause, which is that Chainsaw Man has an absolutely vibrant community that thrives off of the series' amazing creativity. The series already has a number of amazing fan-made animations that will probably rival whatever the anime actually ends up looking like in the end, and the fanbase has also spawned a number of numerous memes, one of them being the dance that I mentioned earlier, that you can only really get with a series that is so goofy, so creative, and so culturally relevant as Chainsaw Man is. Add the fact that the series has some of the best plot twists I've ever read in any manga ever, as well as a deck of awesome antagonists that never overstay their welcome, have amazing powers and designs, always drive the plot forward, and also drive Denji's character growth, and you've got an insanely entertaining series that you will never get tired of reading or discussing. So yeah, Chainsaw Man is pretty darn awesome, I would say. Now, part of me wants to say that you might be better off not reading the manga, given that Chainsaw Man will be finally getting an anime adaptation and it should be coming out sometime soon, hopefully. The series will be produced by Studio Mappa, and given the insane work that they've produced over the past year, including Dorohedoro, The God of High School, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Attack on Titan Season 4, I am inclined to believe that we have got an absolute banger of an anime in our hands, and will definitely be worth the watch. However, the anime doesn't have a clear release date as of the time of this recording, and the manga is so short that you could probably read it in only a few days, so you might as well go ahead and read it now. I actually live tweeted my reading experience with Chainsaw Man over the past few weeks, but nobody really seemed to care, so I'm making this video instead. Regardless, I think the main reason why you should read the manga series now instead of waiting for the anime later is that Chainsaw Man is a manga first and foremost. Each medium has its own advantages and limitations when it comes to storytelling, and Tetsuki Fujimoto knows these for manga like the back of his hand. He uses manga to its fullest extent. For instance, he employs the black and white contrast of manga's pages and the sharpness of his pen to produce scenes of unspeakable horror. He uses pacing and page turns to create tension at critical moments, and he straight up creates some of the most creative paneling in almost any manga series I've ever read. Additionally, there's a second part to the manga coming out sometime soon, and you definitely won't want to miss it, so this is your chance to go and read part 1 and be ahead of the curve. All in all, I absolutely recommend that you give Chainsaw Man a try. It is one of the most unique and gripping manga to come out over the past few years, and it is an overall thrilling ride. The series also leaves us with an important moral. You need to go through some bad times to really appreciate the good times. It's a simple message, but it's one that I think we could all do with right now, and Chainsaw Man goes a long way towards driving this point home. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to watch more videos like this. This has been pascuagon, and I am out.